kind of from the beginning were images that related to the human figure in suspension or being in a vacuum. I always had an introspection towards myself because I view kind of myself from a distance, saying if I was in a vacuum and you didn't exist here and I was talking, or I was that, how would I be conducting myself? Would I be yelling at you? Would I be happy? Would I be, if there's somebody running out to startle you, what I feel I'm responsible for is my reaction to my environment. And so if I remove that environment, what did I look like? And so I did all these suspended figures that were falling, and some were in ecstasy, some were in pain, some were neutral, some were the whole gamut. Yeah, it's in the fetal position. It's very, very womb-like, very internal, and it feels like the world, there's so much noise. And so the stage of being in a fetal position, of just grounding yourself and finding where your center is and finding harmony and centeredness. From there, letting it bloom out. And I feel like I'm just about at the point where these figures are going to come out of this fetal position or emerge. And so the angel is kind of a transition piece, and it was an important piece within this body of work. It's a very introspective piece. It's very much about listening. Her eyes are closed and she's cupping, her wings are cupping, everything is to receive and to listen, and not to try to explain anything, not to try to give you an opinion, not to try to have any outward statement other than listening.
Right, are you saying that your sculptures are like an outward manifestation of what you're experiencing inwardly? Or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, very much so. And what I see, because what I feel is really kind of a reflection of what I see in the world too. How I view the world is how I view myself, and so in a way it feels like it's something that we're going through globally, and it feels like something I'm going through personally at the same time. So I'm trying to stay tuned to that specifically. But this is going to be a male and a female, about 3/4 life size, and they're blowing, and the wind that's happening between them is going to be all made out of stained glass and illuminated from the inside. And so it'll be shards of multicolored glass making this cloud that's between the two figures. And ever since I was a little kid, I was drawing, and I had the keys to the art department in high school, and I would stay late and take the athletic bus home, and I was so into art, and I got dissuaded from following art from my high school counselor, who said, you want to keep it as a hobby and go for the money. So I went into engineering. And so I took a hiatus. I studied engineering and got a great job with an aerospace company and worked in that for about 6 years, and then decided that was not my calling. That my calling really was to go back to doing artwork. So I quit that and went back to school at the Art Center in Pasadena, California. Even these two figures that are blowing at each other, and I try not to think about it. I try to make what feels like it was the natural thing that I feel inspired to do, and not try to think, oh, this is for a specific, for this to go there, or for it to be a lamp, it would have to be, and so I try to get out of my head and just stay in an intuitive place of, where is the juice, where is the process in this, that'd be fun. I think it used to be that I worked much more in solitude. I had a house in the hills that was about 10 minutes out of town, and I would pretty much stay hunkered down, not come out very often. I'd come down to get groceries, and I'd socialize with some other friends, artists, and that sort of thing periodically, but it was much more reclusive. And so moving here from there, or from that location, I came down and had a warehouse space, several different warehouse spaces around town, but this one in particular, which is a group, there's 4 artists that in the building next to me, and myself in here, but we used to all be in that building. We rented that together, and we shared space.
And so it was for 3 years community, and I had very little time by myself. And so that was a bit of an adjustment, but it was really, it was great to have dialogue and understand the importance of the dialogue. And so
Would they influence your work?
I think so. I think, well, we keep picking up on each other's work, but somebody's doing something really interesting painting-wise. And I didn't do as much sculpture over there. I did a lot more painting, and so I was kind of a painting fan for a while. But seeing how somebody else handles paint or playing with a new medium, or just it definitely influenced how each of us approached looking at work and what we were doing, questioning that. And so that dialogue was great.
So do you still have that? I mean, are they still there?
Yeah, but I can, right now, because I ran out of space over there, so I had to come over here. I wanted to get back into doing more of these large pieces, and so I needed the space.
So you have that and this.
So I have both, and I've got a lock on this door, so that when I do have my privacy, I can lock the door, and I have my solitude.
Just in general, what is your relationship to your dreams?
Dreams, I think, for my work and my life, it's all tied together. I also don't know how people function that aren't artists. I don't introspect and do. I don't know how they get through. But the idea of dreams as a guide for my life, in a way, and I don't, I've never really done. I've dabbled with it, but the idea of trying to control dreams or trying to follow through dreams or that, and I almost feel like for me it's similar to a drug experience, that I don't really want to open that door. It's like it's functioning in a certain way, and I don't want this world messed with. It's functioning in a very specific way that I think is very tightly balanced to life, and so I try not to mess with that.
Like with lucid dream practicing.
Lucid dreams
like
or that sort of thing, because I don't know.
Redreaming.
I don't want to be in control of it. I don't want to try to be in control of something. And the idea of dreams and how they relate is, for me, I feel my relationship with dreams are that if I'm doing something, no matter what it is, but my visual, whatever stimulation is coming into my body in whatever way, the dream time is a time for that to be pieced apart or sorted out or figured with. It's like you gain food from living your life, and then that food is digested, and things happen, and insights occur, and visuals happen in dreams that very much relate to that. There's many times where I have dreams where I wake up thinking, that's a brilliant idea, why didn't I think of that? And then I realize, I didn't.
You did. So do you remember your dreams a lot? I mean,
I go through phases where I do, and there's phases where I don't. I'm in a phase now where I don't remember many of the dreams that are happening, and that I have no recollection of the dreams. But there's other times where it's very clear that every night is just clear as a bell and poignant to what I'm doing, and a lot of ideas stem from dreams and relate to dreams. So.
Do you ever write them down? Do you keep a journal?
I don't. Not a consistent journal. I have kept a journal and then not.
Do you feel that your dreams have had an effect on your work in waking life? And can you, if yes, what are some examples of that?
Yeah, a lot of the pieces that we were going around and looking at are direct results from dreams.
Okay, so then let's go back to that.
Because
Which one?
Like the Dark Knight figure, that was
Okay.
with the tornado figure.
Yeah.
It was very much a direct dream.
These figures have to do with that. The figure in this free fall kind of position. Sorry, these are really dusty. That this figure is kind of early or mid 90s, somewhere in there where this piece was done, and is really this figure in the twirl and the swirl of the world. And so this figure in particular is, the silhouette of it is a tornado, and it's called Dark Knight, and it's really about connecting with kind of the dark night of the soul and what's happening in the world. And I felt like there's these tornadoes, and I did these paintings about tornado forms, like a field of tornadoes, with a figure running with this knight in shining armor running right into the middle of the figure. You may have seen that on the website.
I was having a series of dreams at that time that related to tornadoes, and specifically fields of tornadoes that I would see reoccurring again and again. There's times where I had the same dream or the same theme of a dream for a week straight, and this was part of one of those stints of this field of tornadoes. And so the piece that has the knight in shining armor running into the field of tornadoes, and this piece, there's at least 2 or 3 others that were done at that time of these large vortexes of human figures in tornado form. And so there's times where one painting in particular, one of those vortices of figures, I saw it so clearly that I got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and painted till about 7 and finished the piece in the middle of the night. That it was really trying to capture specifically what I saw in a dream. And so from that, there's a piece that's at the Peerless Hotel in town, out in the garden, that is called Formation 2. That's part of that series too. Those were very much from dreams.
Was that the first one that you ever experienced consciously from a dream?
I think consciously that was the first step. That series of work being very much about that dream landscape was the theme of my work. That was where I was drawing it from. And that was, I think, I was living in Santa Fe, and there's a real, there were a lot of coincidences that were happening, a lot of synchronistic things that were occurring. I met a woman in a laundromat who was, I guess, on Walter Cronkite's 21st century of having the highest alpha brainwave output of any human being. And it's like having these conversations with her, and she's homeless, living in a park in a tent. And I would visit her twice a week, and we'd talk and just discuss things about internal spaces and past lives. And I think a lot of that was influencing me. And I felt very specifically from that interaction with her. I remember a moment where I came home, and I came home with my wife, and I said, I know what I'm supposed to do. It just became so clear what my vision was, what I was supposed to be doing with my hands, what I was supposed to be creating. And so I was consciously paying attention to things outside of this tangible reality that our waking life is. And so I was very much trying to dive into that. So whenever a dream would occur that felt to me profound, or felt to me like it had, like anything, I see something fascinating in life, and I think of it in sculptural terms. And so when or painting terms, but seeing things in a dream that relate to either a painting or a sculptural world, I think I was looking for it. And so once I started paying attention, it builds and starts growing.
So before I move on to the next question, are there any others in the room that you would want to connect to a dream experience?
I think in some ways it's like when I was sculpting on this, I wasn't really sure what the final version of it was going to be. And it was, this is another piece that was very clearly a dream, where I saw it as a transparent figure. I saw it in its entirety.
More like that version.
Completely like that, even with the spots and everything. It's just, I saw it in the dream as a transparent